What up, what up, what up? It's Derek Furlow Jr. and we got another session of SLB Sports Life Business, the ultimate transition, and I have a special guest for y'all today. I got Superwoman with me, aka Sarah Van Sickle. What up, girl?
I'm so excited.
Yes. It's like trying to find a missing person, trying to get her to one of these things. But it happened.
A busy life.
Busy life. That's what it's all about, being busy. And we got her here, so while we got her here, we're going to get some nuggets that are going to impact you, inspire you, empower you as you make your transition to life after sports, because we got somebody that done figured out how to do it. And it might not have been as simple as it sounds, but she made it happen. So I can't wait for y'all to get a chance to hear her thoughts and hear her lessons. But before we dive in, it may be some Vol fans who know of you, maybe some teams that you played against who know of you and they don't like you because you helped them lose. But for the most part, introduce yourself to the SLB family, let them know who you are and what you play and when you play.
Right. Well, my name is Sarah Van Sickle, and I'm a has-been Lady Vol soccer player. I played from 2005 to 2008, and I graduated in 2010, and it was amazing. It was a wild ride getting to play soccer there and just learning everything that the sport has to offer and to teach you, not just physically on the field, but mentally and emotionally, and just kind of all the ups and downs that you go through being an athlete. And it's undoubtedly shaped how I am now and who I am now.
That should be good. Well, we're going to make sure they find out how it's shaped. So as they go through their process, they understand some nuggets or be able to have some takeaways that maybe it'll benefit them in the long run. So getting into soccer, was that the only sport you played when growing up, or how did soccer become your baby?
No, I actually played a bunch of sports. I did ballet for like 10 years, believe it or not. Nobody believes me. But I did like ballet and tap and jazz and all that stuff. And then in 8th grade, I had to choose whether I was going to keep doing ballet or do soccer, because I'd been doing soccer for a while. And obviously, I would much rather hit people. So I chose soccer instead of ballet. But no, I played a bunch of sports. I swam for about 10 years. And
wow.
I played soccer, basketball for about almost 10 years, and ran cross country, track, long jump, triple jump. I don't know if I can hoop, but I can definitely play some defense, piss some people off, throw some bows. But what else did I play? I mean, I played a little bit of everything. Pretty much the only sport I didn't really play was softball. Gotcha.
Yeah. So started playing a million different sports growing up, and then you had to pick.
Yeah.
Once you picked soccer, what was your end goal for soccer? Like, what was your
college? UT. That's what I wanted. That's where I wanted to be. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I had my heart set on. Like, didn't want to go anywhere else. And so I actually pursued them like crazy, because at the time they only had one other girl that they really had looked at in the state of Tennessee that she just did not, our coach did not like looking local at all. So I had to work my butt off just to get her attention. I sent email after email after email to all of them, like bugging the crap out of them. And finally I just sent an email. I said, listen, my game's on this Saturday and it's, 15 minutes away from campus. Come for the first 10 minutes. If you don't like what you see, then leave. And I won't take any offense to it, but just come and watch me. And so they did. They came and they watched me, and then they invited me to camp, and then and I showed out in camp, and so then they invited me as like an invited walk-on my freshman year, and I wound up starting and playing almost every game that year, and just worked my way.
Talk about a closer. Talk about closing a deal. So let's back up to that right there. You knew what you wanted.
Yeah.
You already knew the location that you wanted to play. So prior to you picking, like, who did you look up to in the female soccer game that made you say, hey, this is what I want? Or who did you inspire to be like that made you have this obsession with this is what I want?
I mean, of course, at the time, there were all these like powerhouse players like Tish Venturini and Mia Hamm, and just people who you see and you just idolized. And I loved watching them and seeing that. But I would go to some of the UT Lady Vols games, and there were just some players who would just absolutely stand out that I was like, God, I want that. Yeah. Like, I want that. There's actually a player, her name is Kayla Bush now, but it was Kayla Lockerbie, and she might have been 4'10 or 4'11, and she was like the shortest person on the field, but by God, she got every single ball in the air. She had a vertical like you wouldn't believe. She's the toughest player in the world. So, hey, Kayla, you were one of my favorite players because she didn't let anyone intimidate her.
Wow.
Or she didn't back down from anything. And she was so tiny, but she would pack a punch and super aggressive, and I like that kind of stuff.
That works right there. So you found some people that you inspired to be like, or they gave you the hope that it's possible for you to do it.
Yeah.
As far as knowing what to do to make sure that you got to Tennessee and to sell yourself, like, where did you get these ideas to bug them, to sell them, to get on their nerves, to force it? Like, who taught you?
I just did it. I've just always been a go-getter. My parents haven't ever really cared about what my grades are or anything like that. Like, there's never a priority on that. I mean, they didn't want me to like fail out of school, but I was always straight A's. I was just always been very self-motivated and self-driven. And so I knew what I wanted, and I put that in my mind, and I hustled. And what's crazy is my senior year, my coach was super unsupportive. I mean, he was a brilliant coach, and I'm thankful to have been under him, but I just remember him having a conversation that I overheard with one of my players. He didn't know I was listening, and he was saying, you know, basically, well, I just feel sorry for Sarah. She's just going to be a practice cone at UT, and you know, like that's all she's going to be. And I just remember hearing that, and I cried like a little baby because I was a little baby. But then, I mean, I was like, okay, like okay. And so, I mean, you don't ever set out, like that wasn't my motivation to prove someone wrong, but that fuels you too. Like, you know, that could have made or broken me from what I wanted and deterred me, because your coach is such a powerful voice.
Absolutely,
you know?
right.
And so, but I just remember picking myself back up, like after I had my little pity party, and I was like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, I have never been more sure I'm doing this. And I went to my coach, I went to Ange during preseason, and I looked at her in the face, and I pulled her to the side after a few days of preseason. I looked at her, I said, put me in the game. I was like, I know that I can play. I said, all you need to do is put me in the game. I was like, I know I can compete with these girls. Because I actually was playing up top. Like, I had played forward almost my whole life, except that there were really fast people, and then I would go man mark on defense. But they had an open spot at left back, and so by God, I learned how to play left back real quick, you know. And so I said, just put me in the game. And you know what she did? And from then on, like, you know, I started almost every game, and you just go after what you want. When you know that you want something, you fight for it. Yeah. And when you know you're capable of something, and sure, I had some doubts when I was having that conversation, but I was like, you know what? Like, I had to talk myself into believing in myself so that other people could believe in me and give me the chance that I deserve. You don't just get it on a silver platter. Like, you work for it, and you hope for it.
You said a couple of things. For one, you said that could have made you or broke you. Some other people's thoughts of yourself, but it drove you. Because I believe a lot of days, athletes in general, we let a lot of the influences around us either make us or break us, and that's what they're designed to do if you listen. But what do you feel was your biggest, what drove you more than the factor of fear that you couldn't make it? Because that's incredible.
The desire to be on that field, the desire to play, the desire to be a part of something that was so electric when I watched them play. Like, that team had so much heart every time I watched them play. Like, it just sucked me in. It made me want to be a part of it. And so I loved the game. Like, I never lost that love for the game like a lot of people in high school do before, you know, they decide to go to college or not. I still loved it, and I wanted it. And so I just wound up fighting for it. I mean, literally, awesome. I fought for it because it was something that
it meant something
that I loved. Yeah. And I wanted to be on that field wearing that orange and white.
I love it. So you heard your high school coach telling somebody else that it wasn't going to work out.
I was going to be a practice cone.
So that made you even more driven.
Sure did.
So then finally you sail UT on, hey, look, this is where I'm going to be. Come show up, and if I'm not worth watching, leave. Yeah. They show up.
And they stayed. The whole game. Sure did. And
that's how you close the deal.
Butt. I don't think I've ever run that hard, and it was funny.
Did you know they was coming, or how did
they had emailed me the night before, and they're like, "Hey, just wanted you to know we're gonna come tomorrow." So, like,
did you sleep that night?
No, God, no. But you know what? Like, backtracking, like, back to even having those, like, make or break moments. I mean, that'll happen. That wound up happening all through my life. You know, like, you have those moments, whether it's other people speaking into your life, you know, doubting you, like, questioning you, or just speaking that death into your life, or whether it's even your own self. Like, we can be our own worst enemies. You know, there have been plenty of times, like, on the field that I would doubt myself, or can I do this? Or especially if you mess up and you make an error and you're like, God, they'd be better off without me on here. You know, you just face that battle in your mind, whether it's from someone else or yourself. And I mean, that has been something that recurs, as you probably know, all through your life.
Absolutely.
You know, like, there have been so many times people would talk about me, so many times that I would just want to quit and just give up, and having to have to pursue that and, like, push through that, like, in my sport, really helped prepare me to be able to push through all of those scenarios in my life. Like, push through, you know, the ending of my marriage, you know, to push through when I found out that I was pregnant, you know, like, outside of marriage, and just to push through these hard situations that, you know, in myself, I would just want to give up. And it's like, you know, you learn how to fight, you know.
We gonna get to that life stuff in a second. So you sold a coach on Come and Look, they come and look, they buy in.
Yeah.
Then you get to the University of Tennessee. You're on this stage, this platform, this field with girls that you have been watching, and then your opportunity is there, and you talk your coach into putting you in the game. For one, you're a heck of a closer, because that's incredible to tell somebody what to do, and actually once they do it, you take advantage of the opportunity once they actually commit to it. So once you're there and you're playing, at what point did you realize, hey, not only can I compete with these girls on the field, but I can be one of the best ones that's on this team? When did all that register to you?
I didn't really worry about who's better than who. All I worried about was doing the absolute best I could, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously you're in competition with your teammates, which is weird because you are, like, you're in competition with them for a starting spot, but I'm such a team player that while I was in competition for that starting spot, and while I wanted it, and if there were ever games I didn't start, I was pretty pissed off about it. Like, I still, like, I knew that it came down to my work ethic, it came down to my execution. Like, I was able to kind of step back. I had, like, a journal that I did every single day of my freshman year, like, every game. Like, it was, like, meticulous. It was kind of OCD, but describing who started and how the game went and all of that stuff. And I mean, I would just critique myself, and I mean, I would be out there practicing extra when nobody was watching and nobody was paying attention. And, you know, like, I knew the things I needed to work on, because when I came in, I was not even close to the most skilled player, you know. But Ange, at one point, my coach at one point had said, like, was doing an interview and was like, you know, Sarah has the toughest mentality of any player I've ever coached. She said that she's like, she'd run through a brick wall for lady ball soccer. And that's the kind of player I was. I never had the most finesse or skill, but I would lay my body on the line. I would lay out, I would show out, you know, just to sacrifice for my team.
That's awesome that you was able to do a self-assessment and evaluate your strengths versus your weaknesses, and understand that, hey, this is what I do. The rest of that might not be my thing. I can work on getting better than that every single day, but this is what I do. And once you figure that out in life or in business, it makes it easier for you to be a better team player, because you know what your strong points are and how to build the right people around you. Exactly. And how to operate within your strengths. That's awesome. So as far as your college playing days, you had a chance to play with a great team, some great players. When you look back at your college playing days, what are the things you probably took away from the game the most? When you just look back at all the things you learned, all the things you endured when you was playing, what are some things you probably took away from the game the most that you probably still actually even use today? I
mean, one of the biggest things that out of any lesson I learned was that whether we would win or lose, like, that becomes a big hang up for people. And it was for me for a long time. But I found that regardless whether we won or lost, like, it would always hurt when we lost. But I learned the value of giving every ounce of what you have, never holding back, never giving less than the best that you have, because there's a strange peace that comes over you, even if you've lost, even if you're heartbroken over a big loss or whatever kind of loss. There's a peace that comes over you when you can get off of the field and say, I could not have done anything else. Like, despite making mistakes or, like, technical errors, it's like you know that you did not once just walk around to the ball, or you didn't once just, half
Absolutely right.
you gave everything. There's some kind of piece, and you probably know that from games you were in, where you gas it and you give everything you've got, and you literally leave it all on the field.
That's it.
So there's like a strange piece that you have when you leave that game, even though you're heartbroken that you lost, like, and pissed that you lost.
Yeah.
There's